Hello everybody, my name is Mark Mello and I'm a park ranger at Blackstone River Valley National Historical Park, and I'm excited to welcome you to this Black Friday edition of a Ranger Chat. You know, many people will make their way out the door today to go do some early holiday shopping, and perhaps more of us will be doing some of that holiday shopping online this year. But many of us will either in person or virtually visit one of the big box stores to do a lot of our shopping. And thinking about that leads us to question, well, where did this idea of a big box store begin? And in many ways, one of the first examples of a big box store here in the United States of America was right here in the Blackstone River Valley. And so today, we're going to talk about the origins of that store and some of its history. Thomas Poynton Ives and Nicholas Brown Jr. met when Ives apprenticed under Nicholas's father in the late 1700s. Their friendship solidified their joint business interests, and one day would give the name to one of the pioneering big box stores in the United States. Early in their careers, the two men operated a mercantile firm. Brown and Ives' ships sailed the globe and became one of the leaders in the developing China trade. They named one of their ships after their two wives, Anne Brown and Hope Brown Ives. Interesting tangent. The two partners had married each other's sisters. Anne was Thomas's sister and Hope was Nicholas's sister. So they literally, through marriage, worked to keep their partnership all in the family. Anyways, back to our regularly scheduled story. The Anne and Hope sailed the world as just one of the growing armada of ships Brown and Ives owned. However, in the wake of the failed Embargo Act of 1807 and the War of 1812, Brown and Ives made the decision to invest in the developing textile industry of the Blackstone Valley. In 1825, they established the Lonsdale Water Power Company, later known simply as the Lonsdale Company. They specialized in the production of textiles. In the wake of the American Civil War, the Lonsdale Company continued to expand their operations. In 1886, they completed construction on the massive Anne and Hope Mill in Lonsdale Village, Cumberland, Rhode Island. The company, at this point, in the hands of Brown and Ives' grandchildren, named the new mill in honor of their grandmothers. The Lonsdale Company fell on hard times during the Great Depression, and by the mid-1930s, they began to sell off most of their properties. Born in Kiev, Russia, modern-day Ukraine, Martin Chase moved to Providence with his family in 1912. After working in Howard's clothes store, Chase opened his own store in 1933. Chase Clothing undersold most of his competitors by reducing his overhead. In 1946, he purchased the old Anne and Hope Mill. He split the large mill into several units and rented them. Rather than take down the old sign for the Anne and Hope Mill, Chase decided to keep the name. When one of his tenants left the property, they left behind a large amount of ribbon. Rather than throwing it away, Chase opened the area and sold the ribbon. Chase also reopened his clothing store. Over time, he continued to add more products to his store, and by 1969, Anne and Hope was a $40 million per year operation. Anne and Hope was one of the first self-service department stores in the nation, and was among the first wave of stores to utilize big basket shopping carts. Other familiar features, like a central checkout counter and liberal return policies, were also pioneered by Chase. In 1961, Sam Walton visited Anne and Hope. From his visit, he got his idea for Walmart. Similarly, Harry Cunningham, the founder of Kmart, first thought of his store after a visit to the Rhode Island-based chain. So as you make your way out this Black Friday to find the best deals on the latest and greatest products or shop online, and you make a purchase from a big box store, thank Martin Chase. For better or for worse, the age of the big box store was pioneered here in the Blackstone Valley. These large stores still dominate our economy to this day. And just this past June, Anne and Hope made the announcement that they were officially closing their doors for good. So a byproduct of the times in which we live in, where many stores are going out of business. But a fascinating story, and in many ways, the birth of the big box store happening right here in the Blackstone River Valley. Not a history that we usually think of here in the Blackstone River Valley, but an important story nonetheless. As always, I'd like to thank you for joining us here today. If you have any comments or questions, leave those down below. We would love to hear from you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you out there along the Blackstone really soon.